All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and for being on time. Happy you're doing great. We're going to get started right away with this online workshop on emotions. I want to thank you very much once again for your willingness to participate in this activity. Okay, I understand that maybe some of the participants of this workshop are not here as of yet because of the soccer match. But there is a challenge by the end of the session regarding the match itself and the emotions that you felt during that match. I understand that football, that soccer, is a universal phenomenon and it definitely triggers emotions. But because we have a very tight agenda, we're going to get started right away. In any case, this session is being recorded, so you're very welcome to participate either using the chat or the microphone. You do not need to turn off your cameras if you don't feel comfortable. That's okay, no worries. The idea for us is to get to know a little bit about emotions, the underlying mechanisms from a holistic approach, and how to be in proper control of them. So welcome Diana, Laura, and we have a guest. So I don't know who you are. Please let me know your name in the chat, okay? Before we get properly started with this activity, I want to ask you whether you can listen to me well and if you can see my screen in this moment. Please let me know about your confirmation. And once this has been checked, we are going to get started with the first activity. Okay,
Yes, we
so
can.
please let me know. Okay, Diana, thank you very much for your confirmation. Good, so we're going to get started right away. Remember, you're very welcome to participate whenever you feel like. If you cannot participate, don't worry, I totally understand. Okay, so welcome, Natalia. We have another guest. Welcome to this emotion workshop. I hope you're doing great. This class is being recorded for you to watch it afterwards in case you want to. Okay, now let me know something. Can you see my presentation in this moment? I'm showing a presentation. It says a holistic journey through the emotions realm. Can you see it?
No.
No?
No.
No? Okay. Just give me a sec. Um, okay, just a second. I'm going to stop sharing. And how about now?
Yes. Mhm.
Yep. Okay. Good. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'm just going to try with the presentation mode. Can you see the whole screen right now?
Yes.
All right, great, perfect. Thank you very much. So once again, this online workshop is called A Holistic Journey Through the Emotions Realm, because that is a realm itself, you know. Are you familiar with the word realm, maybe, in English? It's like kingdom, okay? So it's like dominio. It's a very important aspect that we have to consider when it comes to our human nature, okay? Because as we're going to see in today's session, well, everything is about emotions, okay? So this is called, once again, a holistic journey through the emotions realm. We are, as I explained in the email that I sent you yesterday, we're going to have two different sessions. The first one being this one in this moment from 8 to 10 on Thursday, November 16th. And the second one is going to be held tomorrow at the same time, okay, Friday, November 17th from 8 to 10 p.m. So the idea for us is to, first of all, activate your previous knowledge through a sensorial activity. So you're going to listen to a song, and then you're going to answer some related questions. After that, we're going to get some insights into the definitions of emotions. We're going to read a little bit and to get to know a little bit about the basic emotions and the different types of mixed emotions that there exist. Because not only do we have joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and the 6 basic emotions. We have loads of emotions as well. Okay, so there are colors as there are emotions. After that, we're moving into the underlying mechanisms of emotions. So remember, the approach to this workshop is a holistic one. We're going to be reading about biology, we're going to be reading about genetics, we're going to be answering some questions regarding the environment, we're going to be dealing with nutrition, with your brain chemistry, and so on and so forth. So these are the 5 different main aspects that we're going to be covering in tonight's session. Again, we're going to start with the emotional voyage or voyage. Then we're going to go through the basic and mixed emotions. After that, the underlying mechanisms. Then we're going to talk about brain chemistry and finally nutrition. That's going to be the agenda for today's session, which is the first of 2 sessions. Okay, so let's get started with this emotional voyage. I have some questions for you. Okay, what's the idea of this activity? I will, and for this activity, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust that you're going to follow my instructions, because in order to get the effect that I want to have on you, it is important that you close your eyes. Okay, when I tell you to close your eyes, please do it. Okay, and if it is possible for you to turn off the lights, because emotions are also related to the environment in terms of lighting and so on and so forth. If you can, please turn off the lights as well. Okay, if you're also using your earphones or headphones in this moment, that is going to be very helpful too, because then you're going to be more concentrated on this song. Okay, so I will play a piece of classical music for you to listen to it. And as you listen to that piece of classical music, this is an individual activity. I'd like you to please answer these questions. Okay, the questions are: what did you feel or how did you feel? Did you identify any specific emotions? Exactly when? Okay, so in what part of the song did you identify or did you feel certain emotions? Did the song trigger or evoke any emotions? Which ones? Okay, talked about the related experiences these memories are linked to. Were these emotions positive? Were they negative? Were they neutral, mixed, or tangled memories or emotions? You let me know, okay? Did you see any colors? So the idea of you closing your eyes and turning off the lights is precisely regarding colors. As we're going to study tonight, some emotions are related to colors, right? That is called color psychology, psicología de los colores. So we're also going to be dealing a little bit with this. So when you close your eyes and when you listen to the song, try to identify colors. It is okay if you don't identify any colors. It could be black and white. It could be mainly red. It could be mainly blue. It could be mainly yellow and so on. Okay. And of course, emotions are related to memories. And when we have access to those memories, we can see like some images. This is our reaction of our brains. So we can see pictures of people, we can see images of landscapes, places we have been before, and so on and so forth. So that's the idea of this initial activity, okay? I'm going to I'm going to type the questions in the chat. I'm going to type the questions in the chat for you to better keep track of them. Okay. I have my lesson planning here. Give me just a second. I will carbon copy the question. The question, sorry, in the chat. Give me a sec. Okay. Here you are, my dear students. Okay, can you see the questions in the chat in this moment?
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you so much for your confirmation. Now, this is the song that I'm going to play. Give me just a second. I'm going to go back to the presentation mode. Well, it's not working from here, but that is not an issue. I can open it from here. Good. I will share the link to the song with you also via chat in case you want to listen to it after the session, but I'm going to be playing it from my screen, okay? So let me know, please, let me know if you can listen to the song. Could you listen to the song? Did you listen to the song? I played like 5 seconds just to make sure that everybody can listen to it. So did you listen to the song? Please let me know so that I am going to play it, okay? Yes? Okay, perfect. So I will turn off my camera and I will turn off my microphone while the song is being played. Once again, try to close your eyes, think of the questions. You will have some minutes after the song stops for you to answer those questions, and then we're going to socialize the answers here as a group, okay? If it is possible, close your eyes. If you're wearing your earplugs, if you're wearing headphones, that's also a good idea for you to do, okay? So let's listen to the song. Once again, remember the questions. What did you feel? How did you feel? Did you identify any specific emotions? Exactly when? In what part of the song? Did the song trigger or evoke any memories? Which ones? Talked about the related experiences these memories are linked to. Were they positive, negative, neutral, mixed, or tangled memories? Did you see any colors? Did any picture form in your mind? We'll find out, okay? So I'm gonna play the song in this moment and then we're going to continue. All right. So that was the song. Now, once again, you will have from 5 to 10 minutes maximum for you to answer these questions. Okay. Once we listen to the song, the idea was to activate some emotions. Okay. And based on the song, based on this piece of classical music, the idea is for you to please answer these questions. Remember, you don't have to open the microphone, you don't have to turn on the camera if you don't feel comfortable. We can also use the chat to participate. The questions are, what did you feel or how did you feel? Did you identify any specific emotions? Exactly when or in what part of the song? Did the song trigger or evoke any memories? Which ones? Talk about the related experiences or write about the related experiences these memories are linked to. Were these memories or these emotions positive, negative, neutral, mixed, tangle? Did you see any colors? Remember, we're also going to be dealing a little bit with color psychology. And did any picture form in your mind? Yes or no? Okay, so 10 minutes uh, tops for you to answer these questions. You can start typing your answers right away in the chat, or you can use the microphone. I'm gonna give you some time and then we're going to continue. Okay, good. In the meantime, I will turn off the camera and the microphone, but I remain attentive to your comments via chat or via microphone as well. Okay, so are you ready? Please let me know. Or maybe you need 5 more minutes. Remember, you can either use the chat or the microphone to participate. You don't need to turn on the cameras, you don't need to turn on your mics. Just let me know. You finished. Okay, great. So, Gabriela, can we listen to you, please? Or maybe can you read your answers in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So number one, the emotions that I felt, nostalgia, and at the same time gratitude.
So this is like a mixed
And
emotion, you know?
yeah.
Nostalgia and
Mm-hmm.
gratitude. So there is a positive side of nostalgia and there is also a negative side of nostalgia. Thank you very much. How about the other questions?
And number two, um, I think the nostalgia increased when the violin started in the song.
During the crescendo of the violin?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Number three, well, you already said mixed emotions. And I remember, well, something that came to my mind um, when I was looking at some pictures that I took from a trip that I did. So I remember that.
Okay, Gabriela, thank you very much. How about colors? Did you see any colors? Maybe
No,
while you close your eyes? Black and
no,
white?
yes.
No, you pay attention to that. Okay, great, perfect, thank you. So the main emotion that you felt was nostalgia, and the second one, it could be said that it was gratitude. So thank you very much. That's important. That was the idea of this first activity, this sensorial activity, for you to somehow, by the aid of music, identify emotions. Okay, so if we want to be in control of our emotions, first of all, we have to identify them. It's like when a doctor is trying to find the cure for a certain disease. In order to be able to cure it, he or she needs to identify first, to know its origin, and somehow dance with it in a metaphoric standpoint in order to understand everything about it. Great, Gabriela. Thank you very much for your participation. So we have some answers in the chat. One of the guests, one of the students, I think is Andres Giancarlo. I think it is you. Okay, so number one, I'm going to read. I felt nostalgic mainly. Okay, yes, I agree with you and I agree with Gabriela. That was like the main emotion that I also felt, but it was a positive one, not like sad nostalgia, but happy nostalgia. And that's kind of contradictory, but it is possible to feel like that because we have mixed emotions. So you also felt sadness and tranquility. Thank you very much. Question number three. Yes, the moment when I graduated from high school, it is a positive type of nostalgia. Okay, thank you. You didn't see any colors. And in terms of images, okay, just blurry images like silhouettes of people or maybe something like that. Nothing in concrete. Great, perfect. Thank you very much for your participation to the both of you, Gabriela and Giancarlo. How about the others? Is there any other volunteer who wants to share the answers in this initial activity? Anybody else? I saw some people typing in the chat. Maybe you forgot to click on the enter. Okay, Diana is typing. How about the others? I saw Natalia was typing too. Maybe Laura, maybe Oscar. It is okay. So someone is typing, let's see. Okay, great. Thank you. So Diana typed, I felt calm, hopeful, I felt full of peace, maybe a little nostalgic, and at the same time very happy. Okay. So you see, it is possible to feel mixed emotions at the same time. So you can feel nostalgic, but you can also feel happy at the same time. So there is a whole horizon when it comes to emotions, and that's the idea of this session. Calm, hope, nostalgia, happiness, yes, something gratifying, emotional, old, and recent memories. You saw white. Okay, normally white is related to peace, to tranquility, from color psychology, from kindness, but it's also somehow related to nostalgic emotions like the ones you said. Okay, and finally, nothing specific. Great, thank you very much for your participation, Diana, Gabriela, and Giancarlo. I see that Natalia is typing too. Let's hope for her to type her answers in the chat. In the meantime, we're going to move into the second part or the second activity of today's session, considering today's agenda. Okay, so let me go back to my presentation. We are now going to move into this. There are emotions as there are colors. Okay, I told you just before, there is something called color psychology. Normally, certain emotions, the basic emotions, are related to a certain color. For example, yellow is highly related to joy. Blue is highly related to depression, to sad feelings. Green somehow can be related to disgust, or it can also be related to feeling positive emotions. And normally red is related with anger, okay? Maybe with irritation, stress, preoccupation, and so on and so forth. So in the next part of this activity, of this first session, we're going to continue activating your previous knowledge, okay? So to do so, we're going to go through a different series, a series of different activities. We're going to play a Kahoot on emotions. Then I'm going to ask you to give me some ideas about your preconceptions of emotions. We're going to watch a video and we're also going to read some material about emotions. Then after that, we're going to be practicing on a matching activity. And also there is a questions. There is a question by the end of this second activity. Which are the basic emotions and what other emotions are there? Based on a video and based on a reading material that we are going to go through. Okay, now we are going to continue then with this Kahoot presentation. Give me just a second. And yeah, we will go for that activity. So I'm pretty sure you have played Kahoot before. I'm going to share this link with you in the chat so that you can enter the pin to this session on emotions. Okay, so I just shared the link with you in the chat, and this is the pin to the game. Okay, this is the pin to the game. I can hear some people screaming right now. Maybe Colombia scored a goal or something. Remember that by the end of the session, I have a challenge related to the match because that's important. Good. So the pin is 117. I'm going to type it in the chat. 117 7857. 7857. Okay, I'm going to switch the screen and we are going to continue with the Kahoot. Okay, can you see the Kahoot tab in this moment? Please let me know. Can you hear to the Kahoot music? Can you see the Kahoot in this moment?
We can see, but we can't hear.
Okay, it's okay. Don't worry. Well, thank you, Diana, for joining. How about the others? I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to join this Kahoot session. on emotions, and then we will start playing. Okay, so far we have Gabby and we have Diana. I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes to join, and then we will start. Okay, please join the Kahoot.
When we hear the word emotion, most of us think of love, hate, happiness, or fear, those strong feelings we experience throughout life. Our emotions are the driving force behind many of our behaviors, helpful and unhelpful. Just where do our emotions come from? Our brain is wired to look for threats or rewards. If one is detected, the feeling region of the brain alerts us through the release of chemical messages. Emotions are the effect of these chemical messages traveling from our brain through the body. When our brain detects a potential threat, our brain releases the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us for a fight or flight response. When we detect or experience something rewarding, such as someone doing something nice for you, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. These are the chemicals that make us feel good and motivate us to continue on the task or behavior. In these instances, the feeling region of the brain kicks in before the thinking part. Sometimes the reactions of the feeling brain are so strong that it dominates our behaviors, and we're unable to think rationally in the moment. Our emotions hijack our brain.
Okay, right. Thank you very much for your participation, Diana, Natalia, and Oscar, and Gabriela too. And thank you very much, everybody, for having participated in this Kahoot on feelings, emotions, and mood. Okay, so sometimes we use these three words interchangeably, but they are not. Okay, so mood is different from feeling, and moods are different from emotions. Okay, so those are basic conceptions that we have to understand and we have to consider when it comes to identifying our moods, our feelings, and our emotions. And we're going to be dealing a little bit with these three different words. Okay, great. Now, let's continue with the next part of our first session of this online workshop. Let me just change the, okay, there you go. Let me just change the image. How about now? Can you see my presentation in this moment? Please let me know. So we just played the Kahoot. We are now going to be working on this brainstorming activity, okay? So brainstorming is when you give me ideas, okay? When you provide people with ideas, when you provide people with words, with phrases, with notions. Of course, in this particular case, we're going to go through a brainstorming activity based on emotions, okay? So let me just have my material ready. And we are now going to be dealing with Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. Okay, so here is the instruction for this next activity. I want you to please name as many emotions as you can. Okay, name as many emotions as you can. You can either type your answers in the chat or you can use the microphone. Okay, so yeah, this is the one we're doing right now. With the brainstorming, this is also going to be done individually. Name as many emotions as you can. Okay, in this moment, please type your answers in the chat or maybe use the microphone to participate. How many emotions come to your mind in English? Okay, so let's see how this brainstorming goes. Okay, great. Gabriela is typing. How about the others? What emotions are you familiar with? Let's see. I'm gonna give you maximum 5 minutes. Okay, maximum 5 minutes for you to type your answer in the chat. Brainstorming about emotions. Name as many emotions as you can. 5 minutes. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. So, Laura says, and once again, the instruction was this is a brainstorming activity. about emotions, and the instruction was name as many emotions as you can. Let's see how many emotions you know in English. Sadness, happiness, and loneliness. Thank you very much, Laura. Giancarlo says happiness, sadness, anger, disgust, and fear. Okay, yes, great. They are related to the basic emotions. Sadness and happiness are also basic emotions. Gabriela says anger, fear, sadness, disgust, confusion. Okay, we have more mixed emotions. Nostalgia, anxiety, shame, hope, and happiness and joy. So we can see more emotions, not just the primary ones, not just the main or basic emotions, but also secondary emotions, tertiary emotions, and mixed emotions as well. Diana says happiness, anger, fear, sadness. Okay, the first four, yes, the first four are related to the basic emotions that there are. Grateful, surprise, and disgust. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. Now, let's continue with the next part of this second activity. Okay, we are going to read about Platchek's Wheel of Emotions in order to understand a little bit more about the different types of emotions that there exist. So here is the link in the chat for you to read it afterwards. But in this moment, I'm going to use it. Okay, I'm going to. We are going to read this material. Okay, please let me know if you can see uh, a website that says Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions, Exploring the Emotion Wheel. Can you see that? It's an external website. Yes? Sorry?
Yes.
Okay, great, perfect. Thank you very much for your confirmation. So I'm going to read it for you. I'm going to read it out loud for you. We're going to go a little bit deeper into the conceptions of emotions. Okay, so this is Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. Okay, so as you can see, there are basic emotions, right, which are right in the middle. The main ones are right in the middle, in the inner circle of this graphic representation of emotions, okay? And the idea is for you to explore it. You can click anywhere to explore. And it says, use this interactive Plutchik's model to learn more about your emotions. So let's read them. Um, let's take a look at each of them, right? And then we're going to make emphasis on the basic emotions. So in the yellow shade we have ecstasy, joy, and serenity. Then we have vigilance, anticipation, and interest. About the green shades we have admiration, trust, and acceptance. Terror, fear, apprehension. The blue ones are related with amazement, surprise, destruction, grief, sadness, and pensiveness. How about this lilac one? We have loathing. To loathe is to hate, but in a very strong way. So you hate somebody with all of your heart, with all of your guts, with all of your mind. Okay, that's very, very strong emotion to loathe someone. Okay, disgust and boredom, and we have rage, anger, and annoyance, right? So if you pay attention to this wheel of emotions, the closer you get to the center or the closer you get to the middle, the stronger the emotion is. And as you go further and as you move from the center of the wheel, the emotions are milder. So we have the strongest emotions or the strongest reactions right in the middle. So ecstasy, admiration, terror, amazement, grief, loathing, rage, and vigilance. And the others are like the middle points. Now, in between, for example, ecstasy and admiration, we find love. In between admiration and terror, we find submission. In between terror and amazement, we find awe, right? Awe is like being admired, okay? Sorry, like admiring something and you are like this, oh, right? Like admiring somebody. Amazement, in between terror and amazement, we have all, once again, in between grief and amazement, we have disapproval. In between loathing and grief, we have remorse. In between rage and loathing, we have contempt. And we have aggressiveness in between rage and vigilance, and in between vigilance and ecstasy we have optimism, right? So we have mixed emotions, not only the basic ones like happiness, sadness, anger, disgust, loneliness, etc., but we also have many other emotions that maybe we haven't identified. Now, which one would you like to read? Which one would you like to get to know a little bit more? Tell me. Would you like to know a little bit more about rage or maybe awe? I don't know. You tell me. Which one should I click? Is there any emotion you want to get to know a little bit? Okay, so for example, this year, I have been going through a grief period, okay, because my grandmother died 6 months ago. So I want to know a little bit more about grief, okay? So what have I felt? I have felt grief, I have felt loathing, and I have felt rage. So these three emotions are the main ones that come to my mind whenever I think of my grandmother, right? Because these were the three emotions that I felt at that moment. So let's find a little bit about grief. Some similar words or some synonyms are heartbroken or distraught, okay? The typical sensations are hard to get up. What is grief telling you? That love is lost, okay? What is grief telling you? That love is lost. How can grief help you? To know what we truly want, okay? So this is how these plastic wheels of emotions work. If you want to know a little bit more about all these emotions, you simply have to click on it. For example, I want to know about loathing, okay? Similar words for loathing are disturbed or horrified. The typical sensations when a person loathes are bilious and vehement, okay? What is loathing telling you? That fundamental values are violated. And that's precisely how I felt when the medics, for example, didn't support my grandmother when she was having like a cardiac arrest. Nobody did anything for her. So I felt that her values, I felt that her principles were being violated, and I loathed everybody at that moment. How can loathing help you? Energize to block something vile, okay? And I want to know a little bit about rage because I also felt rage at that moment. Similar words are or synonyms are overwhelmed and furious. The typical sensations are a pounding heart. You know, when your heart starts beating like stronger and you start to feel it, and you start seeing red. Okay, you get blush because of the blood. Okay, because of the blood flow. Flood, sorry, it concentrates mainly on your head and on your face, on your cheeks, right? What is rage telling you? Unblock from something vital. And how can rage help you? Attack an obstacle. Okay? Now, is there anybody who wishes to read about an emotion? Anybody, please? Any emotion. Okay, all. Thank you, Diana, for your participation. All, right? So similar words for all or synonyms for all are horrified, vigilance, and shock. Okay? What are the typical sensations? Big eyes and a pounding heart, because you also feel in awe, you feel amazed, you feel somehow excited or in shock, all right? What is all telling you? Something very risky has suddenly appeared. And it's important to clarify that there are other kinds of awe. Like, for example, the positive one, when you feel admiration towards someone or when you feel admiration about something, right? How can awe help you to rapidly react to a threat? Okay. What is what are the emotions behind awe? We have fear and surprise. Okay, so normally this is what we feel when we say that we feel in awe, fear and surprise somehow. Okay, great, Diana, thank you. How about the others? Is there any other emotion that you would like to know a little bit? We have many. Come on, give it a try. Anybody else wishes to get to know about another emotion? Okay, see that Gabriela is typing remorse. Okay, let's see remorse. So remorse is a combination of sadness and disgust. Okay, let's see some similar words. We have guilt, atonement, and responsibility. The typical sensations are heaviness and a hanging head. You know, you're very thoughtful, you're very pensive about something that happened in the event of remorse, right? What is remorse telling you? I am responsible for something important, damaged, or lost. That's what we feel when we feel responsible about something. Yeah, for example, when my granny died, I felt remorse too, because somehow I felt responsible, because I was pensive and I was like, I could have done more. I could have done more for her. And maybe my tempo was not the perfect tempo. And if only the tempo had been perfect, well, that sad result would have never happened. But there is no point in going back in time, you know? How can remorse help you? To take responsibility, to make restitution, or to grow. And there you go. Well, if you want further information about how these Plutchik's wheels of emotion work, we'll have some assured like biography about the author. Like psychologist Robert Plutchik created the Plutchik model shown above. It shows there are 8 basic emotions. So now, for example, according to the psychologist, to Mr. Plutchik, we have 8 different basic emotions: joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, anticipation, anger, and disgust. Okay, but there could be 6 or there could be more depending on the author, depending on the rationale behind, right? Plutchik's wheel of emotions organizes these 8 basic emotions based on the psychological purpose of each. So each emotion has a psychological purpose or a raison d'etre. There is a reason why we feel the emotions. And normally they want to teach us something. That's why it is important to identify our emotions and to not only identify them, but also identify what triggers those emotions, what causes those emotions. Okay, so I am happy when I get enough sleep. I am happy when I eat. I am happy when I spend time with my family. So those situations, those activities make me happy. On the contrary, i am um, I am sad when I don't sleep well. I am sad when I don't accomplish something that I have aimed at or something like that. Okay. The model is actually the little ice cream cone which unfolds to the emotions wheel. And you have further information there about this emotion wheel, about other models, and so on and so forth. That is important for you to identify. Now, we have moved into the notion of basic emotions, which are 8 according to Plutchik. Maybe we have 6 according to other authors. And we have maybe opened our minds. We have seen a different horizon of probabilities when it comes to emotions, because there are many emotions, as you can see. Okay, now after this brainstorming activity, let me change the tab for a second. Let's go back to my presentation. We are now going to be dealing with a matching activity. Okay, let's practice. Let's have some online exercises to practice these emotions that we have learned. Okay. This is also related to nonverbal communication, and nonverbal communication, extra linguistics and paralinguistics is very important to consider when it comes to identifying emotions or to paying attention to people's reactions and emotions. Okay, so we are sorry about that. We are going to be working on this matching activity. Uh, there is a man. Okay, there is a man. It's the same person in the different pictures, but this man, this person, has a different facial expression. This is related to nonverbal communication, to extra linguistics, and to paralinguistics, because we are always communicating emotions. So it's important for us to pay attention to how we articulate our faces or the gestures that we make when we feel certain emotions. How do we react when we're happy? Maybe we can practice in front of a mirror. How do or what does our face what does our face look like when we're sad, when we're happy, when we are mad at somebody or mad with somebody or mad at something, and so on and so forth. Please let me know if you can see many pictures of the same person. Can you see many pictures of the same person in the screen in this moment?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much for your confirmation. So the idea for us is to simply match the emotions to or with the faces, okay? So in total, we have 8 different faces, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And each of these facial expressions represent a different emotion. The emotions are happy, angry, surprised, begging, in thought, disgusted, focused, and sad, okay? How about, for example, um, happy? Which letter um, represents a happy face? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or H? You tell me.
Letter B.
Letter B. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Now, which one represents an angry face? Which one represents an angry face? Is it A, C, D, E, F, G, or H? You tell me, please. A, C, D, E. Sorry?
F.
Okay, yeah, I think so. Right, thank you. How about in thought? In thought. A, C, D, E, G, or H? H. Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Disgusted. How about disgusted? Which face represents disgust in this activity?
E.
E. Okay, great. Thank you. How about surprise? Surprise. Which of these faces represents a surprise? Is it G? Is it D, C, or A? G. Okay, great, perfect. Thank you. So that's G. How about focused? How about focused? A, C, or D? Which one do you think represents a focused face? A, C, or D? Maybe let's try a different one. And we could go for the Descartes method, right? Sad. How about sad? Which of these faces is a sad face? Is it A, C, or D?
A.
Okay, C, yeah. C is a sad face. Right, let's try sad face. Okay, how about begging? Begging, is it A or D? D. Okay, yes, that is correct. You know, begging is like saying please, 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 okay? And we have some related words such as beggar and so on. And finally, A, it represents a man or a person who is focused on something. Let's try. So we simply click on finish and then we check the answers, and yes, all of them are correct. So not only do we communicate our emotions verbally or writing them, but we also communicate our emotions, our feelings, our mood via nonverbal communication. So it is a good idea for you to practice maybe in front of a mirror, yeah, and see what your face looks like when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're surprised, when you're tired, when you're depressed, when you're pensive, when you're preoccupied, and many, many, many other possibilities. Good. Thank you very much, everybody. Now let's move into the next activity. This time, there is a question. Yeah, Natalia says, I have done that. It is a good practice. It is a good practice to see our reflection in the mirrors and identify the kind of faces that we make when we feel certain emotions. Because when we understand how we look when we are sad or when we are angry, for example, we are conscious of that and we can control our muscle faces, sorry, our face muscles, and we can modify our expressions. Okay, so it's very important to pay attention to nonverbal communication. Great, thank you very much, Natalia, for your participation. I have another question for you, Gabriela, and also Diana. Thank you very much for your participation. I have one question for everybody. Which are the basic emotions and what other emotions are there? Which are the basic emotions and what other emotions are there? Okay, so to answer that question, I want you to please consider everything we have worked on so far and also click on the link that I just shared with everybody in the chat. Okay, so not only Platchik's point of view, because according to Platchik, we have 8 different basic emotions, but according to this article, there are only 6 basic emotions. So depending on the author, we will have different conceptions. Okay, now let me show you, yes, this article here. So it is titled "The 6 Types of Basic Emotions and Their Effect on Human Behavior." So please go through this document. Remember what I told you about color psychology. Go through this document, read a little bit about combining emotions, read a little bit about each basic emotion and the mixed ones as well. I will give you, let's say, 5 minutes. I mean, you don't have to read the whole article, okay? Just maybe the most important pieces of information. 5 minutes for you to read this material, and then you can answer the question in the chat, okay? So please, this is an individual activity. Use the link that I just shared with everybody. Once again, the question is, which are the basic emotions and what other emotions are there? 5 minutes for you to answer, and then we will be checking. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen in this moment so that we can read the answers in the chat. So Laura says, according to the article, the 6 basic emotions are happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, and surprise. Great, Laura. Thank you very much. Then Gabriela added, then he added pride, shame, embarrassment, and excitement. So those are other emotions, not just the 6 basic ones or the 8 basic ones according to Plotchik's wheel of emotions. We have some others such as pride, shame, embarrassment, and excitement. Natalia says 6 basic emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, disgust. Very well, anger and surprise. Yeah, disgust, anger, and surprise. Diana says, which are the basic emotions? Happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, and surprise. What other emotions are there? There are many other emotions that are derived from the basic ones or are a mixture of them. That is correct, Diana. Thank you very much. You couldn't have said it better yourself. And Natalia says, other emotions are amusement, contempt, embarrassment, excitement, guilt, pride in achievement. Very good. Relief, satisfaction, and shame. Okay, so not only do we have 6 or 8 basic emotions, we have many others as a result of, or yeah, as a result of the combination of some of those primary, secondary, and tertiary emotions. Why not? We can also classify them like that. All right, perfect. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. It is time for us to move on to the third topic of today's session based on our agenda. Okay, so let me just make sure that I'm sharing the correct um, tab. Okay, good. So far we worked on the Kahoot, then the brainstorming, then the matching activity, and you just answered this question: which are the basic emotions and what other emotions are there? We are now going to move into the third part. Okay, remember the third part as the tip of the iceberg, that is to say the underlying mechanisms of emotions. Okay, so what are those mechanisms that trigger emotions? How do emotions work? Where do emotions come from? How are they formulated? We are going to go through all of that. Okay, now I have some questions here. These are some guiding questions. You do not have to answer all of the questions. These are just guiding questions. What is the field of affective sciences? What does it study in particular? Okay, what is that about affective sciences? And what does it study? From the standpoint of affective sciences, what is an emotion comprised of? So from this perspective, what is an emotion, right? Now, what triggers an emotion or what causes an emotion? Okay, eating, seeing something, listening to something, smelling something, touching something, remembering something. What triggers an emotion? In which part of the brain, okay, in which part of our brains does the peripheral response take place? Okay, in which part of the brain does the peripheral response take place? How muscles respond is related to which component? Because it all comes from our brains, right? So when we feel certain emotions unconsciously, our brains control certain muscles. If we feel fear, so maybe some muscles that are going to help us fly away or escape are ready to respond, and so on. Okay, what is action tendency in charge of? What does a feeling allows us to do? In the other words, what is an emotion? And in your own words, what is an emotion? Okay, so this next part deals with some of the underlying mechanisms regarding emotions. Almost everything, yes, Natalia. Everything is about emotions, and that's why it is very important for us. We are rational beings. Yes, we are rational beings, but we are made of flesh and bone, and we are sensitive, sentimental beings, okay, that are mostly driven by our emotions. We are rational, yes, but most of our emotions, most of our decisions are not rational decisions. Most of our decisions are based on our emotions. Okay, sometimes we make correct decisions, sometimes we don't the decisions that we make could not be that correct as expected, because we have an emotional component, and this is very deeply rooted in the human blueprint. Okay, this is an evolutionary process, but it is important for us to acknowledge this, to recognize, to accept the fact that we are emotional beings, but that we are capable of controlling our emotions. There is nothing wrong with feeling. Otherwise, it is really good for us to feel. Yeah, this is what adds spiciness to life. Imagine a life with no emotions. That would be nonsense, right? But we have to learn to control our emotions, and we have to learn to understand. We have to understand what causes an emotion, what triggers an emotion. So, according to the field of emotional sciences, right? The idea, my dear students, is for you to try and answer um, this question. We are going to watch a short video, okay? And I'm going to type the questions in the chat. Again, you don't have to answer all of those questions. It's just like a guiding process, okay? So the questions are in the chat, and we're going to answer those questions once again based on the following video. I will share the link to the video with everybody, but I am also going to play the video from my screen. Okay, so if you just give me a second, I will close some of the material we have used, and I will play this video. I just want to make sure that you can see the YouTube screen in this moment. Can you see the YouTube tab in this moment? Please let me know.
We can
Yes.
see. We can.
Okay. Now let's try and see if you can listen. Can you listen? Or were you listening?
No.
Yes. No.
Hello, my name is David Sander. I am professor of
Yes.
psychology of
Oh,
emotion.
yes.
Great. Let's start over. Please, if you cannot listen, let me know. Okay. Let me know.
Hello, my name is David Sander. I am professor of psychology of emotion and director of the Swiss Center for Affective Sciences at the University of Geneva. The question of what an emotion is has occupied great thinkers such as Aristotle, Descartes, and Darwin. Emotions are of great interest to many disciplines, such as obviously psychology, philosophy, and neuroscience, but also other disciplines such as sociology, economics, history, and even computer sciences. When these disciplines come together to study emotions, we call this new emerging field the field of affective sciences. In this field, we study in particular what an emotion is, what are its functions, and how we can measure it. Given the number of disciplines studying emotion and the diversity of the approaches to study emotions, it is not surprising that in fact there are several theories that try to answer what is an emotion. For this introduction, we will use a definition that is commonly used in the affective sciences. It does not consider emotion to be one thing, rather made up of 5 components. Every emotion consists of these 5 components in our body. Let's begin with the first component, the evaluation of the event that triggers the emotion. Only events, real or imagined, that we evaluate as important to us can trigger an emotion. In particular, we evaluate the relevance of this event by relating it to our goals, concerns, or values. Does it stop us from achieving our goal, or does it help us to achieve them? In one case, we will have a negative emotion. In the other, it will be positive. Emotion, therefore, has a triggering event. This component is particularly interesting because it explains why the same event triggers such different emotions in different individuals. The other 4 components of emotion represent the response to the first component. The peripheral component of emotion is our bodily response that takes place in our peripheral nervous system. Our peripheral nervous system is made up of nerves outside of our brain and our spinal cord. The motor expression component is how our muscles respond. Our face, voice, gestures, and posture all express emotion. The third component of the emotional response is called the action tendency. This component changes our relationship with the event. It prepares us to act appropriately for the situation. It can, for instance, urge us to move towards or away from the trigger. The fourth and final component of the emotional response is the feeling, which allows us to become aware of our emotion. Emotion can then be consciously felt. What I find fascinating about the definition of emotion that we just discussed is that it allows us to focus on what is common to all emotions. So it gives us a general definition of emotion. It's not about giving a very specific definition for each separate emotion. To summarize, emotion is a fast process that responds only to events that are very important to us. And the emotion consists of 2 stages. First, there is the evaluation of the event. And second, there is what we call the emotional response that consists of 4 components: the bodily reaction, the muscle expression, the action tendency, and the feeling component. Thank you for watching. If you're interested to find out more about emotion.
Okay. How do you like this video? Interesting, right? Okay, so again, those questions were guiding ones. What is the field of affective sciences? What does it study in particular? From the standpoint of affective sciences, what is an emotion comprised of? Let's focus on this second question, okay? From the standpoint of affective sciences, what is an emotion comprised of? Did anybody get to answer this question? What is an emotion comprised of? Did anybody get to answer this question? Okay, yes, the bodily reaction is part of it. Okay, yes, so maybe we can go back here. There is a depiction. So an emotion is comprised of 2 main parts, or 2 main components. We have the feeling, yes, and we have the evaluation of the situation. And the evaluation of the situation is subdivided into 4 different moments or phases, if we could call them like that. So we have a peripheral response, a motor expression, action tendency, and then the feeling itself. Okay? So yes, body reaction is part, one of the sub-processes, let's put it like that, is one of the sub-processes of the evaluation process once we identify an emotion. Okay, great. Let's try another, let's try another one. In your own words, what is an emotion? In your own words, what is an emotion? I will give you from 2 to 3 minutes to answer this question. For you, what is an emotion? Let's see, okay? All right, let's see. So I can see Diana is typing. How about the others? We are working on this question. In your own words, what is an emotion? Okay, in your own words, what is an emotion? Last question here. In your own words, what is an emotion? So I see Diana typing. How about the others? Right, Diana, thank you very much for your participation. So she says, I agree with the professor. An emotion is a fast process that occurs in our brain and body and responds to events or situations that are very important to us. Okay, you mentioned some very important aspects there, Diana, in your reply. So the responding method, okay? Um, I told you before, it is okay to feel. It is natural to feel. Something anti-natural, and this is also related to psychotic minds. It's when people don't feel. When people don't feel anything, that's the beginning of apathy. And apathy, you know, it's the opposite of being sympathetic. When you feel apathy, it's because you cannot feel empathy for others. And so psychotic minds start developing like that. So it is totally okay for us to feel. It is okay to feel happy. It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to feel anger. It is okay to feel disgust. It is okay to feel grief. It is okay to feel many of the emotions that we have discussed tonight. Uh, but it is our decision whether to react to that emotion or not. And how do we react to those emotions? What coping mechanisms, okay? What coping mechanisms do we have to face our emotions? Do we always react to what we feel? What are our typical reactions when we feel something? It is important to react or not. It is important to make decisions, unconscious decisions, irrational decisions that are the result of a very strong emotion. So those are some important questions that I want to leave there to continue with the discussion. Okay, I don't see anybody else typing, so we're just going to move into the next section of this session. Okay, so we are now going to deal with point number 4, and point number 4 deals with this, which I call we are drug addicted and driven, because emotions are like drugs, okay? They are neurotransmitters, they are chemicals that are released in our brains, okay? And we're not gonna work on all of these activities because we don't happen to have the time. We are just going to go through this video, okay, in order to understand a little bit more about the brain chemistry, okay, because brain chemistry plays a fundamental role when it comes to emotions and emotions management. So we're going to watch this video. You can come up with your own conclusions, okay, about the chemicals in charge of our emotions, okay? A simple guiding question would be, what are the chemicals, okay? What are the chemicals in charge of our emotions? That is a simple guiding question that I want to ask everybody. And we are now going to watch another video, okay? So this is the one I want to show you right now. It's only, sorry, it's only about 2 minutes. Give me a second.
Ingeniero civil. Actualmente me desarrollo como.
Okay, so it's only about 2 minutes. Here's the link. Watch it and then maybe we can answer this question. What are the chemicals in charge of... Okay, great, perfect, Natalia. I can tell that you are familiar with this. Yes, serotonin, dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin. That is correct. Yes, nailed it. Okay, let's see which other chemicals are behind our emotions or control our emotions. So let me just change the tab. This video, okay. Please let me know if you can see a YouTube, if you're seeking YouTube in this moment, and it's titled How Hormones Influence You and Your Mind. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, but we're not gonna Okay, sorry. We're not gonna watch the whole video. We're just gonna watch the beginning of it because of time. Okay? And then if you like, you can watch the whole video on your own. But we're just gonna watch maybe the first 2 minutes.
How hormones influence us. Did you know that your brain is constantly communicating with the rest of your body, sending special chemicals called hormones from one nerve to another? Of course you did. Don't underestimate the power of hormones. These microscopic guys influence how your brain works and can increase or decrease your energy level, sex drive, and fat storage. They can even control your emotions and mood. In short, they're tiny, but they pack a mighty punch. Dopamine. People associate this hormone with pleasure and reward. Dopamine can make or break your work ethic. It can motivate you to work hard, or hardly work, to achieve some result. By studying rats, scientists noted a strange tendency. The animals were given a choice between two piles of food, a small one or a big one. The catch is that they put the big one behind a fence. And guess what? Rats with a low level of dopamine never chose to make an effort and climb the fence. At the same time, their higher dopamine-carrying counterparts stormed the fence to reach the bigger pile. Follow me, boys, over the fence. So don't forget to tip your hat to dopamine the next time you drag yourself out of bed in order to tackle the day and check all the points off your to-do list. You should also thank dopamine for that warm, fuzzy feeling of pride and reward when you complete everything you wanted to do. I'm so proud. Of course, there is a downside. A lot of illegal drugs and alcohol, as well as coffee and candy, make the body produce more dopamine. No wonder these substances are addictive. If you can't stop eating chocolate, it's not you, it's your body craving dopamine. That lets me off the hook. One more sign that you don't have enough of this hormone is slow and uncoordinated movements of your body. On the flip side, if you have too much of the chemical, you might experience too many unnecessary movements or even repetitive tics. If after learning this information, you've realized that you urgently need more of this hormone in your body, include the following dopamine-boosting foods in your diet: fish, chicken, eggs, nuts, beans, and cheese.
Okay, we're gonna leave the video there because we don't happen to have enough time. In any case, the idea was for us to watch maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes of this video. Yes, these hormones work as drugs, and that's why this section of this first session of the workshop is called "We Are Drug Addicted and Drug Driven." I'm not talking about drugs that people consume, yeah, in the streets, like marijuana or any other, like fentanyl and so on. I'm not talking about those types of drugs. I'm talking about the brain chemistry. I'm talking about the hormones, okay? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, plus the others that you mentioned. So for example, our bodies require a certain dose of these hormones to keep an emotion balance and to keep the and not in order not to be imbalanced, okay? Because that imbalance of emotions is what makes us feel in this way or another way, right? And I wanted to stop the video here because the next section deals with the importance of nutrition. Okay, so let's rewind this a little bit. Okay, if you are sad, maybe you can try with some food. Try ice cream, try chocolate, and then you're going to feel dopamine, like a dopamine injection, something like that, in the form of food. Okay, so those are examples of coping mechanisms that we can have in order to cope with or in order to deal with our emotions on a daily basis. So the last section of today's session was for us to pay attention to, let me change a little bit, to talk about the importance of nutrition. That is to say, the food that we take on a daily basis on emotions, balance, imbalance, and on emotion regulation. Unfortunately, we don't happen to have the time tonight to talk about such an important aspect of our emotions. So we're gonna leave it for tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna leave this last section. That is to say, the importance of nutrition when it comes to emotion regulation. We're gonna leave it for tomorrow. Okay, and tomorrow we are going to be talking about philosophy of emotions, the importance of sleeping when it comes to emotion regulation, the importance of eating healthy food when it comes to emotions, arts, going to be talking about arts, philosophy of emotions, and so on. Okay? I have some important questions that maybe we can answer for tomorrow. Why is nutrition important for one's mental health, and how is this related to emotions and mood? Which foods or food groups are in charge of regulating or helping regulate the basic emotions? Which mental disorders are directly or directly associated with eating habits and education performance? And what about emotions? Okay, so I'm gonna leave these questions in the chat. Tomorrow we are going to start tomorrow we're going to start with this. Okay, so we're going to socialize. It's not homework. Okay, don't worry, you don't have to do any homework. It's just some guiding questions. Okay, some guiding questions that I want you to consider for tomorrow's session. And I have a challenge for you. I told you at the beginning, there is going to be a challenge for today's session. Okay, so how did you feel after Colombia versus Brazil match? Why? Pen down your emotions, keep track of them. And in this moment, I'm going to switch to Spanish for the one time during this session. Okay, en este momento voy a cambiar a español. Es la única vez que voy a cambiar a español durante esta primera sesión. Bueno, por tiempo no alcanzamos a abordar el último punto de la sesión de hoy, que tiene que ver con la importancia de la nutrición y de los buenos hábitos alimenticios en cuanto a las emociones, a la regulación de las emociones. ¿Listo? Entonces, las preguntas que les dejé en el chat son unas preguntas como abrebocas para el tema de mañana. No deben hacer ninguna tarea, recuerden, es solamente como para estar preparados. Es un insight about tomorrow's session. Y el desafío es el siguiente. Ok, claramente hoy había un evento deportivo importante. El fútbol, no lo podemos negar, es un fenómeno mundial y causa muchas emociones en las personas. Entonces el desafío de pronto para quienes tuvieron la oportunidad de ver el partido o de pronto hablando con sus familiares es el siguiente. How did you feel after Colombia versus Brazil match? Why? Pen down your emotions and keep track of them. Entonces, una buena manera de llevar un registro de nuestras emociones, de identificar las emociones, de, por ejemplo, saber cómo nos sentimos ante un evento como este, un partido de fútbol, es un clásico, por así decirlo, y más que fue aquí en territorio colombiano. Entonces, ¿cómo te sentiste después de ver el partido? ¿Qué emociones sentiste durante el partido? Empezó Colombia perdiendo desde el minuto 4 y pues eventualmente ganó el partido 2-1 versus Brasil. ¿Listo? ¿Por qué crees que te sentiste así? ¿Sí? ¿Por qué te sentiste de tal manera u otra? Escribe tus emociones, lleva un registro de tus emociones y esto es un muy buen ejercicio, un muy buen hábito, no solamente para el evento futbolístico del cual les estoy hablando en este momento, sino también llevar, ¿por qué no?, un registro diario de nuestras emociones. ¿Qué me hizo sentir bien hoy? ¿Qué me hizo sentir mal? ¿Qué me hizo enojarme? ¿Por qué sí? ¿Por qué no? ¿Reaccioné? ¿No reaccioné? ¿Qué hice? ¿Qué haría la próxima vez mejor? ¿O qué dejaría de hacer en una próxima ocasión si se me presenta una situación similar a esta? So that is a good practice, you know, for us to keep track of our emotions. So my dear students, with this, we have, you didn't feel anything, indifference. Ah, yes, okay, yeah, okay, yes. Indifference is an emotion. To be honest, I'm not into soccer, so I'm not really interested into that. Yes, but for some people, it is important and it causes very strong emotions, like loathing, ¿ok? Para algunas personas sí, esto genera como una catarsis, ¿sí? Estamos hablando ya de emociones, de un desbordamiento de emociones muy, muy, muy fuerte, ¿right? Estamos hablando de odio, estamos hablando de ismos, y lo mismo pasa con muchas otras emociones. Por eso es que es importante controlarlas. Entonces, es un ejercicio, es un desafío. Si no lo quieren, si no lo consideran pertinente en cuanto al partido, pueden hacerlo en cuanto a lo que pasó hoy en su día a día, en la oficina, en la familia, etcétera. ¿Qué emoción fuerte lograron identificar? ¿Qué causó esa emoción? ¿Reaccionaron, no reaccionaron? ¿Por qué reaccionaron de la manera en la que reaccionaron? Y llevar un registro, ¿listo? ¿Qué podrían haber hecho mejor o qué definitivamente no harían en una próxima ocasión si se les presenta una situación como esa? Right? So, with this, I'm going to close the parentheses. I'm going to go back to English. Tomorrow we will continue, okay? Tomorrow we will continue with some basic notions about the importance of nutrition when it comes to emotion regulation. We're also going to be talking about philosophy of emotions. We're going to be talking about physical education, exercise, and emotion regulation and emotion control, and arts, because arts is very important when it comes to emotions. I cannot thank you enough, my dear students, my dear people. Thank you so much once again for your participation. We'll see again tomorrow. Okay? Thank you very much. Night night, everybody. Take care. It's been a pleasure. Many thanks for your participation. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye and take care.